ang isa pong tao na matino, ang isang tao na honest ay hindi nangangahulugan na hindi siya nag-violate ng batas. Hindi rin po nangangahulugan na ang isang taong gobyerno na maraming accomplishments ay hindi nag-violate ng batas. Kung yung po ang ibig sabihin ng grupong ito.
Mr. Chair, gusto lang po nating mag-respond doon sa remark na nagpapalusot lang po yung mga nagpa-file ng mga administrative.
Finding cases, build up on cases. The Office of the Ombudsman has disposed of 2,863 cases out of the 2,924 workload with a disposition rate of 97.93%. As regards the number of cases filed by the Ombudsman for fiscal year 2022, 221 were filed before the Sandigan Bayan, while 1,122 were filed with regular courts. For scrap prevention, my dear colleagues, the office was also able to adapt to the hybrid delivery of integrity, transparency, and accountability in public service programs by surpassing its target for fiscal year 2022. Lastly, my dear colleagues, the Office of the Ombudsman has processed and issued 3,003 clearances out of its 3,545 workload for the month of June 2023 alone, leaving a balance of 542 clearance applications which are all newly filed. The office has also disposed of and terminated all workloads for other forms of assistance, which gives a zero pending balance as of June 30, 2023. Now, this only shows that the resources, both manpower and budget, of the Office of the Ombudsman are not put into waste. Our commitment to the nation is comparable with that of the faithful servant who brought more talents back to his master, the large mass of citizenry, or the general public. The Office of the Ombudsman earnestly hopes that the honorable members of the House of Representatives, in considering the Office of the Ombudsman's budget for 2024 of 5.50 billion and that of the succeeding years, would realize the crucial role it performs in investigation and enforcement of administrative, civil, and criminal liability to promote efficient service by the government to the people through its proactive approaches. Along this line, the Office of the Ombudsman, in furtherance of its functions or talents, as we may say, has entered into a memorandum of understanding between the Commission on Higher Education and the University of the Philippines system, requiring counterpart funding support to further strengthen the cooperation on corruption initiatives through the promotion and development of common work programs such as television programs, drama anthologies, sitcoms, media art, short video presentations or productions, video educational resources, documentaries, and others. The Office of the Ombudsman, in return, commits that the budgetary support it needs will not be spent aimlessly, but will be utilized with the usual zeal and dedication to enhance the confidence of the general public in the Ombudsman as their watchdog, mobilizer, official critic, and dispenser of justice. Thank you very much.
Salamat, Vice Chair Benny. The Chair recognizes the Honorable Janet Karin.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. It is said that we leave this world but once, and one of the priceless things that we have is time. And this is the priceless commodity that has been sacrificed by the Ombudsman family in its effort to fulfill its mandate to the Filipino people. And we thank the Ombudsman family for that. We also agree, Madam Chair, that they have the challenging task not only to curb corruption, but also to prevent it. Be that as it may, we have to provide them with a lot of support, especially when it comes to giving them the ammunition to fulfill their mandate. We would like to be of help in terms of utilization of funds, because while we do agree that we all have to increase the budget of the Office of the Ombudsman, it is also pertinent that timely and fast utilization of allocated funds is very important. Lastly, Mr. Chair, Your Honors, we would like to commend the Office of the Ombudsman for complying with 17, if I have the correct figures, COA recommendations, and that's tantamount, I believe, to approximately 80%, with only a few left for compliance, which are all matters of recording. With that, Mr. Chair, Your Honors, allow me to also welcome the Ombudsman family to the House of the People. Maraming salamat po.
Salamat.
Ito na. All right, Ombudsman Samuel Martires, you may now proceed with your opening statement before I say anything else, and thereafter your budget presentation.
Marami pong salamat. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Nakakaiyak po yung mga introduction na binigay po ng ating chairperson, ng aming sponsor at ng dalawang co-sponsors. Sana magampanan namin yung aming talagang gawain, pero hindi namin mapipangako na we can satisfy everyone, as right now the Ombudsman is under attack from some sectors, saying that we should have not removed from the service an honest person, a person who has a lot of accomplishments. But let me just say this, that ang isa pong tao na matino, ang isang tao na honest, ay hindi nangangahulugan na hindi siya nagva-violate ng batas. Hindi rin po nangangahulugan na ang isang taong gobyerno na maraming accomplishments ay hindi nag-violate ng batas. Kung yung po ang ibig sabihin ng grupong ito, lahat po ng dinismiss ng Ombudsman, lahat po ng hinatulan ng Supreme Court na matanggal sa serbisyo at maraming accomplishments ay dapat i-reverse ang decisions at ibalik sa serbisyo. Napakadelikado po ng ganong argumento. But anyway, for our budget, I'd like to inform the body that we're contented with what the Department of Budget and Management has recommended to us, although it's below what we have asked. Assistant Ombudsman Ronald Chua will now present our budget. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat po sa inyong mga paliwanag. Now, I would like to remind our colleagues, that each member is given 5 minutes for questioning or interpellation, excluding the response of the resource person. And when you hear the bell sound, yun. Gumagana pa, no? It means you only have 30 seconds to wind up with your questions. Well, as part of a long-standing and respected tradition of our House, to accord preferential treatment to the minority members of the House, and followed by the majority members in an alternating manner. So I would like now to recognize the minority to start the interpellation. We have Representative Raul Manuel to start with.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning sa ating mga fellow representatives, pati rin po sa Office of the Ombudsman. Mr. Chair, gusto ko munang bigyan ng context yung aking tanong. Mr. Chair, may mga rights defenders, lawyers, alternative media, civic leaders, at maging isang think tank na nag-file ng administrative and criminal cases with the Office of the Ombudsman against several ex-officio members of the NTF-ELCAC. First to file their complaint noong February 2020 ay accused si Major General Parlade Jr., former PCOO Yusek Badoy, and former National Security Advisor Esperon for violating Republic Act 6770 for committing unreasonable, unfair, oppressive, or discriminatory acts. Also, Mr. Chair, on June 2020, Major General Parlade was also filed with a case because of violating the anti-graft law and the administrative code. Meron pa, Mr. Chair, December 2020, lawyers naman po nag-file din ng administrative complaint against Mr. Parlade, Ms. Badoy, and Mr. Esperon. Also, 2 days after, from human rights groups, nag-file din po ng criminal and administrative case against Mr. Esperon, Mr. Parlade, Ms. Badoy, and then PCOO ASEC Mocha Yuson for violating Republic Act 9851 in relation to the principle of distinction under international humanitarian law. Also, Mr. Chair, December 2020, pa rin, administrative complaint against former NICA Director General Monteagudo, former Defense Secretary Lorenzana, and former Interior Secretary Anyo for violating the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. Also, Mr. Chair, still, December 2020, alternative media nag-file din ng complaint against Mr. Parlade, Ms. Badoy, and former NTF-ELCAC Executive Director Allen Capuyan. Ang basis naman po ay Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, pati din yung Code of Conduct. In summary, Mr. Chair, 6 administrative complaints from various organizations and 2 criminal complaints pending before the Office of the Ombudsman. May we ask, Mr. Chair, ano na po ang status ng 6 na administrative complaints and 2 criminal cases? Since ang last po doon sa ating na-enumerate ay na-file pa noong December 2020.
Honorable Chair, Your Honors, yung tanong po ay sa dami ng kasong yon, hindi ko alam kung anong status. But if the Honorable Congressman is referring to those cases against Parlade, Badoy, et al. Esperon, with respect to the red tagging, those cases were already dismissed. Sa kadahilanan po na wala naman pong batas na nagbabawal sa red tagging. In the absence of a law, we can not arrogate unto ourselves by saying na nag-violate ka ng red tagging. Red tagging po pinag-uusapan, but I am not really sure if this is the one that is being referred to by the Honorable Congressman Manuel. So, I will appreciate kung bibigyan po ninyo kami ng listahan, and I will inform you the status of those cases.
Mr. Chair, bahagi po ng complaint against these individuals ay yung ginawa nga nilang red tagging. Tayo din naman, Mr. Chair, we filed a bill actually na gusto natin ay ma-criminalize ang red tagging and maprotektahan lahat ng mga defenders natin, lahat ng mga merong advocacy at dapat ay safe sila, hindi sila nasasubject sa mga discriminatory na mga acts. In the absence of that law at this moment, Mr. Chair, kaya ang na-cite natin ay yung ibang mga batas na actually ay pwedeng maging basis para mapanagot ang mga individual na ito. Mr. Chair, since hindi pa nakakatanggap ng official communication ang mga nag-file ng mga complaints against these people, may we request the Office of the Ombudsman to furnish our office, pati din yung mga nag-file mismo, na mabigyan po sila ng written na kopya ng dismissal para po on record ay mapanghawakan po natin iyon. Can the office commit to that, Mr. Chair?
If Your Honor could please give us a copy of those cases. We assure you that we will furnish you the status of those cases. The earliest would be this afternoon. Pero sinisiguro ko po sa inyo na kung mga kasong yun ay na-dismiss na, I am sure na yung mga complainant ay nabigyan na ng kopya. Ngayon, doon sa puntos na dahil nga walang red tagging, pa-file mo ng kaso ng violation ng Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, para lang po yun yung nagpalusot tayo Diba? Ito yung tinatawag na yung palusot Kung sa sibuyas, ito yung palusot na pagtatanim ng sibuyas o ani. Just like in the violation of the the dangerous drugs law, marami po nagpa-file sa amin ng Section 3E. Ang pinakapunot dulo po ay drugs. So wala ho kami jurisdiction doon. So ginagamit, may mga pagkakataon po, ginagamit ang ombudsman. Sana wag naman po ganun. Dahil hindi naman po ang ombudsman karakarakan mag-action sa inyong mga kaso na wala naman talagang kinalalaman. Sa kadahilanan lang, magpa-file kayo ng kaso dahil ang respondent ay isang sikat na tao, mataas ang posisyon sa gobyerno. Binibigyan din po namin ng pansin yung mga kaso na pinafile ng mga mahihirap. Binibigyan po namin ng pansin yung ibang mga kaso na karapat dapat bigyan. Pero kung papalusutan kami na red tagging ang rason, pero sasabihin hindi, nag-violate ka ng Section 3E. Because Section 3 says undue injury to the government or the individual. Yan ang cause ng undue injury na yon. Kung red tagging, wala akong binayolate na batas. Yun lang po. I would appreciate if the Honorable Congressman Manuel could give us a list of those cases and we will immediately. I'll call the office now and give us a status of those cases. And I assure you, before the end of the day, you'll have a copy of the status of those cases.
Mr. Chair, gusto lang po nating mag-respond doon sa remark na nagpapalusot lang po yung mga nagpa-file ng mga administrative and criminal complaints. Mr. Chair, para po sa enlightenment ng ating mga kapwa civil servants and public officials, Mr. Chair, yung red tagging po hindi lang po yan basta salita at hindi po naghahanap lang ng kung ano-anong dahilan para magkaso. Mr. Chair, meron na po talagang nangyaring mga masamang bagay dahil sa red tagging. Meron po, nakaka-affect po ito ng pag-perform ng ating mga public officials at kahit yung mga civil society organizations natin, Mr. Chair, na-hamper po yung pag-perform nila ng duty nila to pursue whatever advocacy that they have in line with our laws. Tapos, Mr. Chair, meron na ring mga na-red tag na napatay na nga, no? Dahil sa ganong threat, no, na nagiging epekto sa kanila dahil sa pagre-red tag coming mismo mula sa mga government officials. So, Mr. Chair, ang dating kasi kung kinukonsente natin ito sa pamahalaan, edi short of saying na we are enabling red tagging, no? Kaya habang syempre mainam na meron na rin talagang batas eventually on red tagging, sa ngayon, Mr. Chair, kita naman natin damage has been done, no? At nakakalungkot isipin na yung mga buhay na nawala because of red tagging, yung mga hindi na makapagpatuloy, no, whether in government man or hindi, nahihirapan na sa kanilang mga gusto sanang gawin, no? Hindi na, mahirap na pong ibalik yun, Mr. Chair. Kaya sana mas maging proactive tayo when it comes to this matter. And sana po hindi din po napagbabangga, no, na may mga kaso daw na para sa mga mahirap, ganyan. Yung mga rights defenders po natin, yung mga people's lawyers natin, yan din po ay merong mga ginagawa para sa mga mahirap. In fact, no, yung pag-defend nila sa mga magsasaka, sa mga mangingisda, sa mga manggagawa, part din po yan ng gusto nating sama-samang pagtulong sa mga mahihirap. So, sana po hindi pinagbabangga, hindi pinagko-compete yung mga kaso. Kasi kung lahat naman po, Mr. Chair, agrabyado, lahat po ay dapat nating tulungan at dapat ay may hustisya po para sa kanila. Yun na muna, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat.